Heya Cryptozens, welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus and we do crypto news analysis nightly at 10 p.m. And keep in mind, none of this should be considered financial advice. And it's Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. The Securities Exchange Commission figures a lot in this podcast, and we're going to be talking about them again later tonight. And not for the first time, the SEC has been accused of labeling crypto assets as securities, and in doing so, overstepping their authority. The Chamber of Digital Commerce filed an amicus brief on February 22nd. This brief argues for the case's dismissal. According to them, the case is part of the SEC's regulation by enforcement campaign, because they're trying to classify secondary market transactions as security transactions. Perry Ann Boring is the CEO of the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and she stated that the SEC is trying to expand its jurisdictional reach. Boring believes that the SEC's actions could harm the U.S. marketplace for digital assets. The Chamber of Digital Commerce also argued that Congress never authorized the SEC to encroach into the digital assets market. They cited other Supreme Court cases where it was ruled that regulators must first be granted authority by Congress. The Chamber wrote on Twitter that the SEC is contributing to a chaotic regulatory environment by acting without congressional authorization. The Chamber believes that this harms the very investors that the SEC is supposed to protect. And regarding that insider trading case against a former Coinbase employee, the Chamber also argued that the SEC's claims of securities fraud are problematic. The SEC is essentially asking the court to consider secondary market trades in the 9 digital assets mentioned as security transactions. Now, Boring has serious concerns about the SEC's attempt to label tokens as securities. She stated that this is happening in the context of an enforcement action against third parties who were not involved in the creation, distribution, or marketing for those assets. The Chamber of Digital Commerce referred to the LBRY versus SEC case in its brief. In that case, the judge ruled that secondary market transactions should not be designated as securities transactions. Commercial contract attorney Louis Cohen's paper was considered by the judge in that case. Now, Cohen pointed out that no court had ever acknowledged the underlying asset as a security since the famous Howey case, and that's the case that established the precedent for determining whether a security transaction exists or not. Now, the amicus brief that the Chamber filed echoes the concerns of the Blockchain Association's brief that they filed on February 13th. Both organizations have argued that the SEC has overstepped its authority in this case. They claim that the SEC's actions are part of a strategy of regulation by enforcement. As far as the underlying case itself, the SEC has sued former Coinbase global product manager Ishan Wahi, his brother Nikhil Wahi, and their friend Samir Ramani back in July. The SEC alleges that the trio used confidential information obtained by Ishan to make $1.5 million in gains from trading 25 different cryptocurrencies. Regulators from the state of New York and the federal government have opposed Binance US's $1.02 billion deal to acquire the assets of Voyager. In filings on February 22nd, the regulators claimed that the deal could be discriminatory and illegal. The SEC's recent interventions in the crypto industry have led to increased scrutiny. The SEC has been investigating the sale of unregistered securities. We hear that a lot. They have raised concerns that aspects of the Binance US Voyager deal may be in violation of the law. Now, the SEC believes that the proposed plan for repaying Voyager's former customers could be problematic. The proposed plan involves rebalancing and redistributing assets to Voyager's account holders, which could be viewed as a breach of Section 5 of the Securities Act of 1933. The filing, which specifically mentions the VGX token issued by Voyager, raises concerns about the unregistered sale or delivery of securities. Now, the SEC is saying that it's Voyager's responsibility to provide evidence that the proposed plan is viable and that it complies with the law. The regulator has also referred to media reports indicating that Binance may be facing fines for previous violations of anti-money laundering and anti-corruption laws. The SEC believes that these issues could make it challenging or impossible to complete the deal. The New York State Department of Financial Services and New York's Attorney General Letitia James have also filed documents opposing the Binance Voyager deal. The filings accuse Voyager of illegally providing services to customers in the state of New York. According to a filing by the New York State Department of Financial Services, Voyager does not hold a license to operate in New York. This filing states that the department has received information suggesting that Voyager may have been serving customers in the state, which would be in violation of the law. The department's filing alleges that Voyager violated New York law by operating a virtual currency business within the state, but without a license. And as a result, customers in New York were not afforded the protections that the law provides. Additionally, the plan to transfer assets to Binance US would discriminate against New York customers, who would have to wait 6 months to reclaim their crypto until Binance US gains approval to operate in the state. The SEC filed a limited objection to the Binance US Voyager deal back in January, stating that there wasn't enough information to show that Binance US could afford it. This after Voyager filed for bankruptcy back in July. Voyager has claimed that selling assets to Binance US is the best outcome for creditors and criticized the department's objections as hypocritical. The creditors had until 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday to approve the deal, and most have done so, at least according to Voyager's counsel. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission has stated in a filing that it too is investigating Voyager Digital and its executives for deceptive marketing of cryptocurrency. The FTC stated in a filing on Wednesday that it does not want any bankruptcy-related plan to interfere with its ongoing investigation into the company and its executives. According to a legal filing, the FTC is investigating the acts and practices of Voyager's employees, directors, and officers for deceptive and unfair marketing of cryptocurrency to the public. The Voyager bankruptcy plan proposed a sale of company assets to Binance US, but it could also release the company and its employees from financial claims related to any wrongdoing. The FTC argued that the release in the bankruptcy plan proposed by Voyager on January 13th could interfere with its ability to prosecute its claims by not excluding false pretenses and false representations. In June, the FTC warned that consumers had lost more than $1 billion to crypto scams and bogus investment schemes. On Wednesday, the New York State AG's office took legal action against CoinEx. Now, we were just talking about AG Letitia James in regards to the New York Department of Financial Service investigation into Voyager. In fact, much like Voyager, the AG's office claims that CoinEx is not registered as a securities broker or commodity broker-dealer under state law. And as we've discussed, this means that CoinEx is not authorized to trade securities or commodities in the state of New York. According to the complaint, CoinEx failed to register with the U.S. SEC or the CFTC before providing services in New York. Despite not being registered, CoinEx advertised itself as an exchange on its website and provided services similar to those offered by national securities exchanges or similar platforms. The petition claimed that CoinEx offered tokens that fall under securities and or commodities according to New York law. The petition further alleges that CoinEx listed these tokens without proper registration. If proven true, that would make it an unregistered securities broker and commodity broker-dealer under state law. The filing also alleged that CoinEx failed to comply with the subpoena. The New York Attorney General's office is demanding that CoinEx 1. Geofence New York by blocking local IP addresses. 2. Stop all business activities in the state. 3. Pay full monetary restitution and disgorgement from its operations in New York. And 4. Cover the AG's legal fees. Now, according to the filing, Flex's AMP, LBRY's LBC, and Terraform's Labs Luna, as well as Rally's RLY tokens, are classified as both securities and commodities under New York state law. Coinbase introduced a new Layer 2 network called Base. Base is built using Optimism's OP stack, and it's expected to onboard millions of new crypto users in the future. And so, on Thursday, Coinbase began testing Base's testnet. Coinbase announced that it's becoming a core developer on the open-source OP stack alongside Optimism. The OP stack is a developer toolkit for the Optimism network. Base, which is built using the OP stack, will not be restricted to Ethereum. It will provide simple and secure access to Layer 2 networks like Optimism, as well as other blockchain ecosystems like Solana. Will Robinson is the VP of Engineering at Coinbase, and he announced the launch of the testnet for Base. Base offers a secure, low-cost, and developer-friendly way for anyone to build decentralized apps on-chain. Base is starting off life within Coinbase using their experience building crypto products. Robinson mentioned that they plan to gradually decentralize the chain over time. Coinbase plans to allow developers to integrate their product directly with Base. They will also provide fiat on-ramps, which aim to attract an estimated 110 million verified users and $80 billion in assets on the Coinbase ecosystem. Robinson stated that they encourage developers to begin on Base and then to expand to other chains. He sees Base as a bridge for users to enter the crypto economy, providing an easy-to-use default on-chain experience with access to products on other chains. In addition, Coinbase announced the creation of the Base Ecosystem Fund. This fund will invest in and support early-stage projects that are building on Base and meet certain investment criteria. And for anybody asking, Coinbase has stated that they do not intend to create a new token. So, unlike the Binance chain, there is no Base token, which means you're not getting an airdrop based on how much you're holding on Coinbase. You're not getting tokens based on your coin stock equity. Sam Bankman-Fried has been charged with bank fraud allegations under a new indictment. This indictment has 12 counts. It includes charges for operating an unlicensed money transmitter. Sam is already facing 8 counts prior to this indictment. He has also been charged with violating campaign finance laws, specifically for conspiring to make unlawful political contributions. Now, before this new indictment, Sam was already facing 8 charges. These charges included conspiracy and wire fraud on customers and lenders, commodities and securities fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to defraud the U.S., as well as violating campaign finance laws. Now, according to the unsealed charges, Sam and his cohorts wanted to open a bank account, and in doing so, they misrepresented the intended use of that account. They claimed it would be used for trading and market making, but in reality, it was for receiving and transmitting customer funds back and forth from Alameda Research. To open this account, they created a company called North Dimension. Now, this was all to deceive the unnamed bank that had previously declined to service an account for them. The indictment also accuses Bankman-Fried and others of making corporate contributions to candidates and committees in the Southern District of New York. These contributions were reported in the name of another person, according to the document. So that's a crime. Now, according to that document, FTX's former CEO wanted to donate at least $1 million to a pro-LGBTQ political action group. However, he couldn't find anyone at the company who identified as bisexual or gay that he trusted. According to reports, an internal Alameda spreadsheet showed over $100 million in political contributions before the midterms. However, the FEC records do not reflect any political contributions made by Alameda to candidates or PACs in the 2022 midterm elections. So that's an issue. And it's an issue because the document accuses Sam of using straw donors to avoid individual donation limits to candidates he'd already donated to. There's a reason why we have campaign finance laws set the way they are. The document requests that Sam forfeit hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets, many of which have already been seized by the government. These assets include over 55 million shares of Robinhood, valued at $550 million, and over $140 million in cash held at Silvergate and Farmington State banks in the name of FTX Digital Markets. Bankman-Fried is scheduled to face trial in October. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe. Leave a rating or review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.